Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel. Wishing you a happy healthy start to this nice hump day, baby. It's some hump day action. Get your hump on. We're all about to get humped by the Fed as the FOMC meeting looms overhead in the next, I think, 10 or so hours. Of course, the Fed, the Lizard Council, is essentially going to decide what everyone's fates are as far as risk on assets go and the dollar denomination. Anyways, with that in mind, I wanted to follow up on not just the short-term timeframes, as we got that lower-term timeframe move to the downside that we're looking for yesterday, but also the monthly look as well, which I completely whiffed on yesterday. I meant to do it on the 1st of November, of course, as typically we always do. And that is going to potentially play into a more long-term macro hopium case for Bitcoin and probably all of cryptocurrency as well, which I know that perhaps some people might be interested in. All right, sweet. So let's waste no more time. Let's just jump right into it. And I want to start off with the heavy hitting stuff right off the bat here. So this is actually the monthly look for Bitcoin. And what are we essentially viewing here? We're essentially viewing the full history of Bitcoin, going all the way back to the genesis, well beyond like 13, 14 years ago. And basically what I've done is I put on a monthly stochastic momentum oscillator right here, and we can see a few things that would be very relevant if a few conditions are met for the next few months. So it is essentially this. Anytime that we've seen the monthly stochastic momentum oscillator cross the upside, especially in the critical zone here below that 20 read, and even as long as it's below the bullish control zone as well, I would say, well, all of these crosses to the upside have been met. I'll just let the chart kind of speak for itself with essentially humongous moves to the upside over the course of the next few months, in some cases over the next year or two, like this one over here in 2012, which essentially ended all the way in basically 2013. And of course, the more recent ones that we did see in May 2020, which essentially ended last year, November, literally 1 year ago in November. Anyways, the reason why this one is relevant right now is because the monthly stochastic oscillator is potentially going to cross the upside. Obviously, this is not super relevant on the first day of, or the second day of November at this point, but going to be more relevant as we kind of eat up into November and get to the end of November. But the pivot to actually turn it to the upside would be above 21,670 on a monthly closure. So if you see Bitcoin trade above that level this month, and especially close above that level this month, we'll see this cross the upside. It'll be in the critical zone, which is where we've seen actually all macro bottoms kind of emerge from. It'll also be fulfilling a trend line test over here, which I don't know if that matters too much, to be fair, although that would imply hidden bullish divergence, to be fair. And then of course, well, the data as it has been over the full history of Bitcoin, which is very limited, I should say. We really only have 5 iterations of this, but hey, it's the best that we can do, really. I would be looking for significant upside momentum to occur over the next few months. You can see that a lot of these signals do kind of take their time to get going, namely the ones that do come from the critical zone down here, like we did see over here in 2012. If you can see it on your chart, yes, you can. So that's good. This one still took about 3 months sideways and then absolute bullzooka to the upside. This one over here, not in the critical zone, but immediate to the upside. This one over here in 2015. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And even then, I mean, it's really like another 5 months of slowly grinding to the upside. But obviously that one was one of the biblical rallies in Bitcoin, leading up to that $20,000 high in 2017. And then of course, more recently in 2019, and perhaps even again here in late 2022 to 2023. So I did think that that was rather interesting here, a little bit of hopium, and something for perhaps you to be aware of as we move further into the month of November. So with that in mind, let's now go into the lower term timeframes. Keep in mind that the lower term timeframes and the higher term timeframes mostly divorce here. And let's follow up first on the short term timeframe analysis that we were looking on yesterday for Bitcoin. So yesterday on Bitcoin, we were saying, hey, probably continues to fill out the range. We're unlikely going to see a range break just yet. Probably going to be on Wednesday, which leads us into today. And probably in the meantime, probably going to see a little bit of a short term to the downside move, which is what we've gotten. We've gotten a move down to that 20,300 level. Sorry, excuse this. This is not what I wanted to speak about. Here we go. That's what I wanted to speak about, that 20,200 barrier. So it's the same thing as before on the lower term timeframes, a break above the top side of the range, which is 20,950. And I'm looking for this one to very likely put in a short term continuation move somewhere around 21,500 bucks, also in alignment with the 0.5 fib here. You know, there's probably a small margin of error there for that next target, and then very likely a pullback from there, and then so on and so forth, perhaps more on top of that. And looks like I'm getting filled on order over here. That's good. Nice. Okay. Get me in, get me out. And of course, to the downside, if you do see a closure below that 20,200 level on CME specifically, then I would be looking at this as your confirmed local high, thus confirming a few other things, which would very likely drive major downside price action back down to the lower $19,000 region. And I suspect that a lot of this is going to be fulfilled coming into today's meeting. So there's the meeting, and then there's also the conference call that happens afterwards. The conference call is actually even more important simply because they talk about their forwards outlook. So obviously I'm not an insider there. I have no idea what the fuck they're going to do. So personally speaking, I like to not have any open positions going into something like this because my effectiveness as a trader is just reduced when there are external events that are coming into the view here. Anyways, the market is primed for a breakout. However, we do see that 4-hour BBWP as we were looking at yesterday. The old LARP lines here, perhaps play out in this case, is very likely, is already fully contracted. So we are very likely going to be looking at a big move on the lower term timeframes. 12-hour time frame is also contracting into extreme lows, and I believe the daily is kind of on the precipice still here as well. So let me just go back into my notes really quickly. And let's actually go through the lower term timeframe stochastic momentum to see if there's any sort of an obvious directional bias here. And I've already kind of gone through it, but we'll do it together here. 12-hour timeframe is going to be turning down as long as Bitcoin's below 20,666, the devil's dick number right there. Obviously, Bitcoin's a couple $100 below that right now on CME. 6-hour timeframe is also going to be turning down below 20,405, which right now it's actually above. So all good in the hood, I suppose. A little bit of bifurcation. 4-hour time frame is nosediving with, again, volatility on the floor. To 20,603 is going to be the magical number there. 3-hour time frame also going to be turning down below 20,475 pivot, and hourly, which it's literally at right now, so that's kind of meaningless. And then hourly is going to be down as well as long as Bitcoin's below 20,550. So we do see a lot of bifurcation here. Ultimately, I'm looking for range breaks. I'm not looking for momentum oscillators to kind of give a bias in direction. And realistically, I just don't think that anything matters more than what the Fed says later. So there's really not much else other to do than that. But here's the thing. If you do see Bitcoin pop back down, I can't speak today. I apologize. Pop back down below the range lows, even on a 4-hour time frame closure, which I define as 20,200. That's going to set into motion a few other things, which I think deserve some recognition. First and foremost, or maybe not foremost, but of relevance, would be that the daily will confirm 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bearish divergence right here. Obviously, right now it's a potential, but it is not confirmed. Thus, not super concerning. Below 20,200, very fucking concerning, because that would have a generalized target somewhere back down to the low $19,000 regions with, bounces along the way, probably somewhere around like 19.6 if I had to pull it off the top of my head. What else do we have? Yes, so that would be that. Other than that, though, I wouldn't really be saying anything else. I mean, obviously the downtrend would remain if that were to happen. But for right now, the last thing that I can kind of bring us into would be this chart over here, the one chart I keep on going back to, and the one chart that actually still does favor the Boo laws, statistically speaking, and that is the volatility versus stochastic momentum chart right here. Daily BBWP representing volatility on CME here. Anytime that we've seen it get down to extreme lows, which are defined as 10 percentile or more for the full history of CME, we've observed on the expansion phase that naturally follows after that, a 24.25% move almost, alongside taking about 2.5 weeks. And the stochastic oscillator has been correct in getting that volatility expansion direction 83.33% of the time. So this signal was actually confirmed like a week ago. Yeah, hold on, where exactly was this? Like a week ago, somewhere around here, the last week of October, basically. So we've already kind of eaten a little bit into this potential, or this signal right here. And the daily stochastic oscillator has been correct in getting the direction yet again. But the question is the signal still viable? Well, it's certainly viable as long as Bitcoin is above the stochastic momentum pivot, which right now is nowhere near the daily closure, but right now it is not. The daily stochastic momentum pivot is 20,850. If Bitcoin can close above that level today, we're very likely going to, that's probably going to be just a general upside resolution anyways, but we're going to see likely the next sort of set of targets hit upon this. So again, Bitcoin has gotten very, very close to the bottom end of the first standard deviation as far as the average move goes. The average would be about 24.25%, and the upper end of the first standard deviation would be about 33.33. So if the event is favorable, I would not be just looking for Bitcoin to head up to like $21,500, but very likely continue on, maybe, around the middle point of this month, somewhere to about $23,500. That's your average right there. And then 33% puts you, somewhere around $24,500. So that'd be kind of like the order of operations, going onwards and forwards, kind of based upon the event today. Other than that, what else do I have? Yeah, the amount of days is also rather interesting here. So we've already kind of eaten into the signal by about a week. Let me it was Monday the 24th that I got confirmed. So it was like just over a week ago now. We'd say about 8 days. So the average days of about almost 16, we've already seen about half that already taken up. So if this is going to continue, we really do expect it to continue like in this next 8-day period, starting today. So yeah, starting today. So again, that's kind of the way that I see things right now. That's the best that I can do kind of coming into an event like this. Hopefully that was in some way helpful. I forgot to mention that for the people who are in the Quant program, and if you want access to the Quant Discord, please email our lovely support girls at support@crowntrading.net with one, your Discord name, that would be good, and then two, some verification of a receipt or something like that as well, and they'll add your access. Of course, that's only if you want. I mean, it's not like necessary or anything. It's not going to really change the actual program itself, but it's actually been pretty fun the last few days. Anyways, that's a good place for me to be leaving things off. I want to wish you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.